Thanks for joining the Savvy Ladies Wednesday Wisdom webinar. I'm Maggie Montemuro, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Savvy Ladies. I would like to remind you that if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them into the chat box. And if you're joining us by phone, you can email your question to info@savvyladies.org. Today's presenter is Kate Gardner. Kate is an executive coach and business consultant who works with professionals and entrepreneurs across the country who want to make an impact and reap the benefits. Kate developed the Kickstart strategy based on a decade of work with clients and in-depth research. She has previous experience as a financial investigator on Wall Street and a managing partner of an award-winning design firm. Thanks for being with us today, Kate, and let's get started.
Well, it's my great pleasure to be here, Maggie. Thank you so much, and thank you, Lisa and Savvy Ladies, for having me. And thanks to all of you who have joined us here for this webinar on the Kickstart strategy and reinventing your career or business step by step. So I'm very excited to be with all of you and to tell you a little bit about, give you some strategy that you can use right now to change your life and get where you want to go with a lot less risk and a lot less stress. So speaking of stress, I know you're all really busy, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet. But let's just take a break for the moment from all the multitasking. Turn off your phones, put the email away, and give yourself this 20 minutes to just focus on you and what you want. And why don't we even just close our eyes for a moment? Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Just take a few deep breaths. Great. So my specialty is helping people to reinvent themselves, their careers, their businesses, their lives. And I love working with women who are powerful, passionate, successful, and crave something more. Women just like yourself. Because I know you're here because you're ready to make a change. And you've already taken the first step just by coming today. And at the end of this presentation, I'm also going to make a special offer to you so that you could continue to go further, and how I might help you with that. But let's get started with today's presentation right now. So you're ready for a brighter future. You've been thinking about it. Maybe it's a crystal clear vision that you've got in your head, or it could be a little voice in the back of your mind. You're meant for more than this, something more, something better. But you don't know how to get there. You feel uncertain. You're not even sure maybe where you exactly want to go. And you're afraid of losing what you already have. You're afraid of failing. So what we're going to do today is you're going to learn how you can reach that bright future that you are daring to imagine without risking it all. So I'm going to start with a story, Carrie's story. She came up through the ranks as a graphic designer in publishing. But as the industry changed, she was getting less and less satisfaction out of it. She was working longer and longer hours, seeing less and less opportunity for growth and development. And then she got laid off, which was a wonderful thing. It allowed her to see that she truly wanted something different, even if she didn't know what it was. So she went and got one of those career books. I think it was What Color Is My Parachute? And came up with a whole list of possibilities. I mean, it was at least a couple of pages. So now she knew that there was all kinds of possibilities, but which one? Which one was going to be her magic ticket to a happier life? Was she going to move to the Caribbean and open a scuba diving business? Was she going to become a family therapist? Or would she take a shot at becoming a professional fine artist? So what she did, because she couldn't decide between these, and she couldn't figure that out in her head, she began crafting experiments to see which of her best ideas were worth investing in. She was exploring the question, what if? So she did a couple of things. She took a month's vacation to her favorite Caribbean island. She got her training license in scuba diving, hung out with expats, met with some of the local diving instructors to see what it would be to build a business. And then when she got back, she started taking art classes. And she started to produce original work and even sold some to family and friends. The third experiment, she was also a client in a weight loss program. And she decided to apply for a counselor position at this company. And she got it. So she had three experiments. She had the Caribbean island scuba diving company. She had becoming an artist. And she was looking at the whole issue of counseling. At the end of each experiment, she and her coach assessed the results. What did she learn? Well, she learned that while island life was great for getting away, living there year round and having her whole life there, she would be bored in 1 or 2 years, lonely, missing everybody back home. It wasn't the right thing. Art. She loved doing it. It just brought her such joy. But did she really want to turn that into a business and have to deal with all of the insecurities of trying to live off what you can make selling art and having to pursue galleries and all kinds of other ways of selling art? Yeah, but art became a wonderful, joyful hobby for her. Now, at the weight loss clinic, she was having a great time. And she not only loved what she was doing, but she found that she was really great at helping people. So this seemed very promising. Now, why doesn't she just stay at the weight loss clinic? Well, the problem is it really didn't pay enough. So next she crafted a more sophisticated experience to pursue this question of what if I became a counselor? And she started asking around, looking for a better paying job. And an old acquaintance told her about one with the district attorney's office, helping women who'd been victimized by domestic violence. And she loved it. She loved helping these women helping them through the legal process. And soon she applied for her master's of social work and graduated a valedictorian. So after graduation, Carrie continued to craft different career experiments from, having from having a therapy practice to being a parenting educator. Um, and today she is the director of a highly respected social work agency and a well-known trainer of helping professionals. So what was the technique? Let's look at this technique that Carrie used. Oops, wrong button there. There we go. Test before you invest. So you're going to pick an idea, one of the ones that you either really like or you think that you really like and you think is viable. You think one of your best ideas. You're going to take that and you're going to craft an experiment that allows you to see what that would be like for you or whether that would be viable. It's like being a painter. So you have an idea in your head, but at some point you have to put something on the canvas. You can't do a painting in your head any more than you can make a career change in your head. You have to actually take action and do something. So you're a painter. You're going to put a little paint on the canvas. And then you're going to step back like a painter steps back. And you're going to look at that and see how you feel about it. Well, let me add a little more gray there to that red. Or I like that. That red's working for me. Let me go over and paint this green pasture over here. Or, this just isn't really what I wanted to do at all. I'm just going to cover this whole thing with white and start over again. So that's really how it works. You craft an experiment, you step back, not too long, you step back and you assess the results. So that experiment has to give you some information. And then you're going to assess that information. You're going to learn from it. And then you're going to build your next experiment. You're going to craft that next experiment. You're going to build on that. You're going to start small, low risk. Carrie didn't sell everything and just move to the Caribbean. She took a month's vacation. A lot of people say, well, you should make decisions just from your gut, or no, you have to be really rational. Well, there's a problem with that, is that your emotions might say, quit your job tomorrow. And then you look at your bank account, and that tells you, the numbers say, well, you can never leave the security of your job. But crafting experiments actually gives you evidence, real evidence, and a real platform on which to build from. So it gets you started, and it allows you to build your new life step by step. Now, I recommend that you combine this technique with another technique from the Kickstart strategy that I think really bumps it up and is critical to this process of changing your life. New faces and places. You cannot build a new life, change your career, or transform your business all by yourself. Not going to happen. We pretty much can't do anything by ourselves, but you certainly can't make a major change by yourself. Know how is good, know who is better. Now, I know you have your family, your friends, your colleagues, and that's great. But there's a problem often with your existing networks. One is they see you for who you've been. They can't necessarily see who you are becoming. And often they will tell you that you can't do it. And a lot of that's because they actually don't have the expertise in these new areas. So you need to go out and meet new people, put yourself in new places so you can meet those people who have the connections and the need and the information that you need. And what's so interesting is as you build those new networks and have those new experiences, you are going to start to change yourself. And as you change, that starts to change your relationships with your existing network of family, friends, and colleagues, so that they can actually, those of whom are available, can become more helpful to you. A lot of us think that the way that most startups are funded is through venture capital, but actually it's through friends and family helping out. So this shifting of relationships is a positive all the way around in terms of your old relationships and your new change that you want. So I'm just going to share another story about Sarah, who is a client of mine. She is testing out both her, she's crafting experiments and building new relationships. Sarah is a well-paid account rep at a jewelry wholesaler, but her dream is to have her own fashion line of independent designers. Now, she's the family breadwinner, and she wants children. So she needs that income, but she wants a lot less travel. She has a lot to lose. So she's been taking it step by step, crafting experiments, and making new connections. So she started going to industry events, meeting the kind of designers that she was interested in, the kind of fashion and accessories that excited her and that she wanted to spread throughout the country and use her skills as an account rep to do that. She also needed, of course, to meet the right kind of buyers. So she started reaching out to some of the buyers that she knew. Um, and then she also started to just do some events. She signed contracts with these designers and decided to do her own events and has actually been selling to friends and friends and friends and friends of friends. Um, and so she knows she's got a good product. She's called upon some of her old acquaintances for assistance with marketing and PR. She shifted away from some of the dysfunctional family members and is now doing much more with those who want to help her and can help her build the business. And she's, connecting to bigger like wholesale networks that could promise larger scale sales opportunities. Now, what's so interesting in this process has been to watch Sarah go from being a fairly timid, um, second guessing, someone not thinking very highly of herself, to someone who I sit there now and I look at her and say, oh, I'm sitting in front of the CEO of a company. It's changed how she relates to her bosses at her job. And it's a lot less stressful because she's more powerful and she's using any problem she runs into there as a training ground for running her own company. So she's really changed her own mindset by virtue of going through this process, becoming confident in her ability to build her own company as she's actually building the company. So both her inner and outer realities are changing and fueling each other. And we're looking at her, building, growing her sales so she can leave her position in the next year. Very exciting. Very proud of her. So making a big change can be scary, but the Kickstart strategy I taught you here will minimize any risk and increase your chances of success. You're going to test before you invest. You're going to reach out to new people and places. And these small steps are going to put you in a position to catch the breaks you need along the way. Catching a break is not a matter of luck. It's a matter of putting yourself in the position so that when that break comes along, you're there. So all those small steps moving forward put you in a position to get the break. And the Kickstart strategy gives you the proof and the actual platform so that you know when you're ready to leap and you have the confidence that you're going to land on your feet. And this is great not only in your professional life, but also in all aspects of your life. So let me share with you, before we're going to get to some, I'm eager to hear your questions because I'm a coach and I love, helping people with whatever their issues are. But before we get there, I'm going to just make this offer to you. Um, all of my programs are customized to the particular needs of my client. And whether I'm helping them reinvent themselves or grow their businesses and careers, and I personally know how challenging it can be and scary to make big changes. And I know how much I've loved my coaches and how helpful they've been. They've kept me from wasting a lot of time and money and suffering a lot of heartache, because I've done that, tried to do it by myself and suffered from all those things. And I really needed their help to cut through the confusion and fear and to have some of the skills that I needed. So that's what I do for my clients, is I help them thrive and get through that change as quickly and easily as possible. So I don't know how many of you have worked with coaches, but just imagine what it would be like to have the support you need basically 24/7 to identify your true heartfelt goals, to develop a strategic action plan so you know what you're doing day in and day out, to help you upgrade your skills so you can be confident of reaching your goals, and to create your ultimate career or business. So if you're ready for change, I'd like to help you by offering you a Kickstart Breakthrough session. It's an intensive, in-depth session with me for an hour or so, usually about an hour. It's usually I would charge $300 for that session, but for savvy ladies, I'm offering a special fee of only $125. And together we'll fashion a crystal clear vision of your ultimate business. We'll uncover hidden challenges that may be sabotaging you and leave you renewed, energized, and inspired. So if this sounds like a good step for you, do let me know soon. I can only do a few individual sessions, and the offer's only open for a limited period of time. So you can email or call just and let me know you're a savvy lady. So, questions, eager to hear from you. Do we have any? Do you have any?
Thank you, Kate. We did have some questions come in, and I want to remind everyone, if you have a question now, you can type it into the chat box or email info@savvyladies.org. And so one of the questions we have here is, I've heard volunteering is a good way to get some experience in the field I want to break into, but I haven't really found many opportunities yet. What are some other ways I can get experience?
What is the field you want to get into?
I don't have that information here. I'll follow up if I find.
Well, it's again, these things are very customized. It's hard to give a general response, but I would start talking to people. If volunteer opportunities aren't that available, perhaps there are internships which are like volunteer opportunities, but it might be in the for-profit sector. And of course, in this day and age, for-profit and nonprofit are increasingly intertwined. But I think talking to people, reaching out is going to be your best bet, no matter what your situation is. Um, and, it could be an entry level position as well. I don't know if it's because there's few opportunities, it's because of where you're located, which may require a little more creative thinking. But I think it's always best to be thinking creatively with other people. It's very hard often to figure this stuff out on yourself. You may get a brainstorm or you may get a great idea, but talking with other people will give you ideas that you probably haven't even thought about to see what other opportunities there might be.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question here is, I've had my business for about 15 years and have been operating at break even or a loss for the past 3 years, so I know something needs to change. What are some things I can do to reinvent my business without losing the clients who have been loyal to me for the last 15 years?
That's a great question. And I work with a lot of people in that situation. Again, without knowing more specifics, I would say that one of the most powerful approaches I found or tools that I found is to really look at who your ideal client is. Again, I don't know what your business is or the range of clients you have, but most small businesses tend to have sometimes too large of a range of clients. And it's hard to give that it's not that you can't service them, but it's hard to market to them because you have limited resources. That might be one thing, is to really target understand who your best client is, who's your best referral source, who pays you the best, who really appreciates your service or product. And then figure out, understanding everything you can about how they live and how to reach them and how to serve them and finding out what you give is of value to them. That said, I would want to know more to what it is, your product, what is the service, what is the situation that's going on, um, and also to understand more what you would want, how you would like to grow the business.
Okay, thank you. Another question that came in is my age a factor in career change? I'm now over 40 and I feel like it's too late to change.
Oh no. You're still a youngin'. I went to this panel about a year ago, and there was a woman who was quite a bit older than you are. And she said this great thing. So someone asked about age in the audience, being too young or being too old. And she said, my approach to age is you should just ignore it. And I would agree. Now, that is not to say that there are not some realities, particularly for women as they get older. Um, but it's a great time to change careers, and oftentimes you need to. I could see that I was going to have some issues on a career path that I was on, and I didn't want to have to do what I would do to take those on, and I changed. And like coaching and consulting, this is something I can do the rest of my life. So you're at a perfect age to actually make changes. And it's a perfect time to do it because you probably know a lot about what you like and what you don't like, and probably and you have a lot of skills, and those can be transformed and transferred into other areas. So I think you're at a perfect point in your life. I think any point is perfect for change, because when you feel like you need to make a change, there's a reason for that. And the issue is making a change that's going to serve you better as you go forward in your life.
Okay, another question is, do you have any guidance for my situation? Financially, I'm not sure I could experiment with my dream career.
I think you need to think creatively about what's a low cost or no cost step that you could take to test out that dream career. And I don't know what that is, but this is a creative question, and would love to brainstorm with you on it. Or perhaps you can bring together some friends or some strangers or some people you might know or not know very well. Might be someone who knows someone who knows someone. Those acquaintances are often better at helping us sometimes than our closest people on these kinds of things. But I just can't imagine that if this is really your dream career, I just can't imagine there's not a way to creatively address the obstacles step by step, and starting to learn about it, starting to make connections. That's a big thing right there. I mean, I don't know, again, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you feel is required. I mean, for example, in Carrie's case, she didn't just start out, she didn't go immediately to spend the money to go to social work school and to get school debt. um, she tried out something where she was actually getting paid to do it, even though she wasn't getting paid enough, and then she got paid a little more. So I think you have to look for other opportunities. Sometimes when we get a vision, we can get like we're wearing blinders, like we can't see. In fact, that we can get so obsessed with the vision that we forget to open ourselves to that vision and all of the possibilities that there might be for us to get there. This is an expansive approach. So I think you need to open up and think about other possibilities. Do some brainstorming on this with some folks.
Okay. And Kate, we had a question come in asking about your story and just wanting to hear if you could talk a little bit about how you became a coach.
Sure, sure. Um, well, one thing about being a coach is I use everything that I have ever done. And I've done a lot of different things. I've gone through a lot of career changes. I started out as an actress. Um, I've been a land surveyor. I worked in childcare. I was a community activist for many years. And then I ended up working on Wall Street as a private investigator. And that was a real eye opener. And it was fascinating because one of the things I learned, because I studied thousands of businesses um, all over the world, and I saw that there was no one size fits all, and that business was really a creative act. They really understand. Most of us think that creativity and business are two different things. Certainly, I grew up with that. I grew up with my mother was an artist, my father was an engineer, and business was that was for the other people. um, and I saw how these guys put together creativity and business, sometimes perhaps a little too creative, as we all know. They could use a little bit more reining in. But I saw how powerful putting those two things together were, and how I could put my own creativity together with solid business practice. And I left Wall Street because I got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly just got a little too ugly. And I signed on as a managing partner for a boutique lighting designer. And she had a great solo practice in New York City. But she wanted to grow. She wanted to take on big public projects. And last time she tried to grow, she nearly lost the whole thing. So what I did, she brought me in so that that wouldn't happen again. And I put in her a marketing strategy so that she had the clients that she wanted. I put in a management strategy so that she could hire the people to, you know, implement her unique designs at a very high level. Put in a financial strategy so she knew whether she was, um, losing or getting, whether she was making money or losing money. And she thrived. She tripled sales. She's now very well respected and works with top architects on award-winning projects all over the world. And her colleagues said, "Hey, what's going on over there? I want some of that." So they asked me for help, and it just grew very organically. So for the past decade, I've been working with a lot of creative entrepreneurs as well as attorneys, architects, filmmakers, and a lot of professional women who are wanting to change, social workers. So one, I've been through a lot of professional changes myself, and two, I just love working with folks who are going through change, and I love the courage. I love the desire, and it's the most creative art that I know of.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Kate, for a really great presentation, very helpful. And I want to thank you also for the special offer you made to the Savvy Ladies community. I want to thank everyone who joined us today and asked some questions. We hope you'll join us again for future webinars. And thank you again so much, Kate.
Well, thank all of you. Thank you, Maggie. And you all have a wonderful, creative day. And I urge you to go ahead, take the last few minutes of your lunch break or whatever time you've got, and think about what your next step is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.